so we've got our grouped data, and these are the cumulative frequencies. So hopefully you saw from the video that the cumulative frequency comes from adding up the groups. So if you remember when we found the estimate of the median, we kind of had to figure out which group it is, and we went through and added it up. So for instance, if I were to just work out what the frequency was, well, the amount in the first group is 7. The amount in the second group would be 10, because 10 plus 7 makes the 17. Okay. The amount in the next group, well, we've got to add up to 32. Okay, so that would be 15. There'd be 15 in that group. There's another 19 here. There's only 6 there, and then there's 3. So if I was looking at the frequency, those would be the numbers. But we're going to be plotting the cumulative frequency. So on this first question, it asks you to plot it. Now I'm hoping that you saw in the video that when you plot your cumulative frequency, you plot it by taking the top end of the group, right? So these numbers here get plotted at the top end. So I've kind of started already by plotting these points. So just to check that at 180, so 140 to 180, 51. So if we go 140 to 180, look, I plotted it at 51. Okay, was that? All right. Now the only one I've not plotted is this one here at 190 is 57. All right, so I'm going to plot for 190. I'm going to go up, so that's the top end of the group, and I'm going to plot it at 57. So 55, 57. So there are the points. When you have your points plotted, let me zoom out a bit, you then join them with a curve. You don't draw straight lines. You try your best to do a curve, and we start at the axis. Now this is because they've changed the axis, but you don't have to go to where it crosses at the 0, but where the smallest group is, and in this case it's 140. If I take you back to the group, look, 140 is the smallest amount. So our curve will start at the 140, and we try our best, and it's going to be difficult for me on my little tablet. We curve it up and we will get kind of an S shape. Sometimes it's not as nice as others, but that's what we do. We don't join them with straight lines. It's going to be a curve. Right, so I'm going to presume that was all right from last time. Now, what we then do is to find the median from our cumulative frequency. So we found the median before from the table, but what we do here is we look at what the maximum frequency is. So the maximum frequency is at 60. All right, so the median is at halfway. All right, so we just check that the maximum, let the graph goes up to 60. So halfway will be at 30. So we read across at 30, use your ruler and read down, and whatever that value is down here. Question? Oh, well, I'm recording, so if we'll just have to do our best, and then I'll put the video on afterwards or something. Okay. So the median is halfway down the maximum frequency. So we read off here, and I've got something like 169 centimeters for the median. Now, if I wanted to find the interquartile range, what I would do is, just like with the data, you split it into quarters, I would do the same thing. So the lower quartile, well, if halfway is at 30, the lower quartile will be at 15. So I'll go across to where my curve is and go down, and I think it's something like 158 centimeters is the lower quartile, and the upper quartile will be at 45. So again, read across. When you're doing it, you'll be using a ruler, And not doing this, by the way, I see that all the time. Lines that are not vertical and horizontal, there's no excuse. Read down. And what have we got? 177. So the interquartile range for this graph would be from 177 to 158. And you can work that out, whatever that is. Okay, so that would be the upper quartile. All right. Now, what is important, because I think all that's relatively easy. Hopefully that's what you got from yesterday. The next graph is going to ask us, find the number of people who took longer than 80 seconds to complete the challenge. So this is a very important question because this is the one that catches people out a lot. So longer than 80. Well, what we do is we go across to the 80 and we do it the other way around. So how many people? Well, I go up to 80, right, to the line, find the line and read across. Now, that value there, I think, is 68 people. All right, so just to check, look, cumulative shows the information, the times it took people to complete a challenge. So this is 80 seconds, this is 68 people. All right, but the question is, how many people took longer than 80 seconds? Well, if we look at it, this is 80, so this side is more than 80, so plus 80. This side is less than 80, so minus 80. That means this number is actually the number of people that took less than 80 seconds. Okay, so if we go back to our table, these numbers look is when the height is less than or equal to 150, less than 160. So the value on the curve is always less than. So how many were more than 80? Well, sorry, jumping around. Well, the maximum was 80. So it's from 68 to 80 is the more than 80 seconds. Okay. So when we answer that question, we will say 80 minus the 68 people that took less than, and the answer is 12 people. Now that is one of the main types of questions. So you've got finding the median. So in this one, from 80 to 0, the median would be at 40. So read across, read down. I won't go through the whole thing. The upper quartile would be halfway between 80 and 40, was at 60. That would be the upper quartile. 20 would be the lower quartile. So you read those values down. Pretty self-explanatory, I think. So let me know if there's any problem with that. All right, I'm going to pause the video.